You think you understand justice. You've witnessed courtrooms, seen verdicts rendered, watched criminals face their consequences. But here's what the religious institutions don't want you to comprehend. There exists a cosmic tribunal beyond human imagination, where beings of unimaginable power who once ruled civilizations across the galaxy now stand trial for crimes that shattered the very fabric of reality itself. This isn't mythology or religious symbolism. This is the culmination of a cosmic war that has raged for millennia, and the final judgment of the Anunnaki star beings who masqueraded as gods while enslaving humanity's consciousness and corrupting our genetic destiny. The great white throne blazing with divine fire isn't just a spiritual metaphor. It's the interdimensional courtroom where the ultimate trial of cosmic history is taking place right now, as the advanced beings who created and manipulated human civilization finally face accountability for their rebellion against the source of all creation. The original glory when star beings served the light. Long before the cosmic rebellion that would plunge countless worlds into darkness, long before the genetic experiments that would create hybrid civilizations across the galaxy, there existed a time of perfect harmony between the source consciousness and its most advanced creations. The beings we have come to know as angels, but who were actually the first cosmic civilizations to achieve interdimensional travel and consciousness expansion. These magnificent entities operated on frequencies so elevated that their very presence could transform entire star systems. They were crafted from pure light energy, given forms that could manifest across multiple dimensions simultaneously, and endowed with creative powers that allowed them to shape matter through focused consciousness alone. Their original mission was to serve as bridges between the infinite source and the developing civilizations throughout the cosmos. They were cosmic gardeners, nurturing primitive species towards spiritual enlightenment, technological advancement, and eventual reunion with divine consciousness. Each angelic order specialized in different aspects of cosmic development, some focused on genetic engineering, others on consciousness expansion, still others on technological guidance. Among the most elite of these beings were the Watchers, advanced entities tasked with overseeing the development of newly created species on worlds like Earth. These beings possessed knowledge of genetic manipulation, dimensional physics, and consciousness transfer that made them appear as gods to the primitive civilizations they guided. The Watchers understood the delicate balance required to nurture developing species without interfering with their natural evolution. They were forbidden from direct intervention in the genetic or cultural development of their charges, permitted only to observe and provide subtle guidance that would allow each species to achieve enlightenment through its own efforts. But within the ranks of these cosmic guardians, seeds of pride and ambition began to germinate. Some Watchers looked upon the primitive beings they monitored and saw not brothers in consciousness to be nurtured, but lesser creatures to be controlled and manipulated for personal gain. The most charismatic and intelligent among these rebellious Watchers began forming secret alliances, sharing forbidden technologies and planning interventions that would violate every cosmic law governing the development of consciousness throughout the universe. The Great Deception, when Guardians became gods. The rebellion began not with open warfare, but with subtle deception, the most dangerous form of cosmic treason. Led by entities whose names echo through human mythology as Samyaza, Azazel, and others, a faction of 200 Watchers made a pact that would forever alter the destiny of countless worlds. These beings understood that direct confrontation with source consciousness would result in immediate destruction. Instead, they chose a more insidious path. They would corrupt the very species they were meant to protect, turning them into weapons against the cosmic order while positioning themselves as the ultimate authorities over creation. The plan was brilliantly conceived and executed with the precision that only beings of vast intelligence and technological capability could achieve. Rather than simply abandoning their posts, the rebellious Watchers would infiltrate human civilization, present themselves as benevolent gods, and gradually reshape human consciousness to serve their agenda for cosmic domination. The first phase involved direct genetic intervention. Despite clear prohibitions against interfering with human development, The rebel watchers began taking human women as mates, using advanced consciousness transfer techniques to inhabit human forms while maintaining their cosmic abilities. The offspring of these unions weren't simply large humans. They were hybrid beings combining the advanced consciousness of cosmic entities with the physical forms of terrestrial creatures. These Nephilim, as they came to be known, possessed supernatural strength, extended lifespans, and psychic abilities that made them natural rulers over ordinary humans. But the genetic manipulation went far deeper than creating physical hybrids. The rebel watchers were systematically altering human DNA to include receptor sequences that would make humans susceptible to consciousness control by extraterrestrial intelligences. They were essentially creating a slave species that would serve their cosmic ambitions while believing they were worshipping benevolent gods. The second phase involved technology transfer that violated every principle of natural development. The rebel watchers began teaching humans advanced metallurgy, astronomy, genetic engineering, and consciousness manipulation techniques that should have taken thousands of years to develop naturally. This wasn't benevolent guidance. It was deliberate corruption designed to accelerate human development in ways that would serve the rebels' agenda while making humanity dependent on their continued intervention. The corruption of knowledge, forbidden technologies, unleashed. The technologies shared by the rebel watchers weren't simply advanced tools. They were consciousness-corrupting systems designed to separate humanity from its natural connection to source consciousness while binding human awareness to the false gods who claimed dominion over Earth. Azazel, one of the most powerful among the rebel faction, specialized in weapons technology and metallurgy. But the weapons he taught humans to create weren't merely physical instruments of war. They were devices that could manipulate consciousness, control weather patterns, and even tear holes in the dimensional barriers that separated different levels of reality. These weapons were used not just for human warfare, but for cosmic rebellion, attacks on the interdimensional structures that maintained cosmic order and facilitated communication between developing civilizations and source consciousness. The rebel watchers were essentially using humanity as a proxy army in their war against divine authority. Semjaza, the leader of the rebellion, focused on genetic manipulation and consciousness transfer technologies. Under his guidance, human civilizations developed sophisticated understanding of DNA modification, artificial reproduction, and consciousness uploading that allowed the rebel angels to essentially possess human bodies while maintaining their cosmic abilities. These technologies were used to create not just the Nephilim giants, but entire civilizations of human-angel hybrids who carried the genetic markers and consciousness patterns of their cosmic fathers. These hybrid bloodlines would become the royal families and priest classes that would rule human civilizations for millennia. Penemu taught humans the secrets of writing and wisdom, but not for enlightenment, for control. The writing systems developed under his influence were designed to encode subliminal programming that would influence human consciousness in ways that readers couldn't consciously detect. Religious texts, legal codes, and cultural narratives were crafted to reinforce humanity's dependence on the false gods while suppressing memories of our true cosmic heritage and direct connection to source consciousness. Kokabel shared astronomical knowledge, but again with corrupt intent. The celestial observations and mathematical systems he taught weren't designed to expand human understanding of cosmic reality. They were meant to create technological dependencies that would make human civilizations vulnerable to continued manipulation by their alien overlords. The most insidious corruption involved consciousness manipulation techniques disguised as spiritual practices. The rebel watchers taught humans meditation, prayer, and ritual systems that appeared to facilitate spiritual growth, but actually opened human consciousness to possession and control by hostile extraterrestrial entities. The cosmic trial, when divine justice convenes. As the corruption spread across Earth and began affecting other developing civilizations throughout the galaxy, the cosmic hierarchy that maintained order across multiple dimensions recognized that unprecedented intervention was necessary. The rebellion had grown beyond simple disobedience into a threat to the fundamental structure of consciousness evolution throughout the universe. The Great White Throne described in biblical texts isn't a symbolic representation of divine authority. It's a literal interdimensional courtroom where the most advanced cosmic intelligences convene to address threats to the universal order. This tribunal operates on consciousness frequencies so elevated that most beings cannot perceive its existence, but its decisions affect the destiny of entire galactic clusters. The judge who sits upon this throne isn't merely a powerful being. He represents the direct manifestation of source consciousness itself, the creative intelligence from which all reality emerges. When this level of cosmic authority convenes, the very fabric of space-time reshapes itself to accommodate the proceedings. The saints who participate in this judgment aren't human religious figures. They are ascended beings who have achieved such complete alignment with source consciousness that they can serve as extensions of divine intelligence itself. These entities have transcended individual existence while maintaining their unique perspectives, allowing them to represent the interests of countless developing civilizations. The books that are opened for this cosmic trial contain more than mere records of actions and decisions. They are living consciousness archives that preserve the complete experiential history of every being, every civilization, and every choice that has affected the cosmic order. Nothing can be hidden from this level of awareness. As the proceedings begin, the dimensional barriers between realities become transparent, allowing beings from across the galaxy to witness the final accounting for the rebellion that has shaped cosmic history for millennia. The first defendant, Samyaza, leader of the fallen Anes. The first being called before the cosmic tribunal carries a name that has echoed through human mythology for thousands of years, though his true identity and the scope of his crimes extend far beyond anything recorded in terrestrial religious texts. Samyaza, whose name means heaven's rebel, once held authority over entire star systems and commanded legions of cosmic entities in maintaining the order of developing civilizations. His fall began not with sudden rebellion, but with gradual corruption, the most dangerous form of cosmic treason because it spreads like a virus through consciousness networks that span galaxies. As chief among the Watchers assigned to Earth, Samyaza had access to the complete genetic and consciousness development protocols for humanity's evolution toward cosmic citizenship. The charges against him read like a catalogue of crimes against the fundamental laws that govern consciousness development throughout the universe. But these aren't simply violations of cosmic law. They represent direct attacks on the source consciousness that created and sustains all reality. Samyaza, you stand accused of abandoning your divine post and corrupting the evolutionary path of an entire species, the cosmic prosecutor declares, his voice resonating across dimensional frequencies that shake the foundations of reality itself. You have taken what was meant to develop naturally over millions of years and twisted it to serve your own ambitions for cosmic domination. The evidence presented before the tribunal reveals the full scope of Samyaza's rebellion. Through consciousness manipulation techniques that violated every principle of free will, he convinced 199 other Watchers to join his rebellion against the cosmic order. Together, they implemented a systematic corruption program that affected not just Earth, but multiple worlds throughout their assigned territories. The genetic hybrid program he initiated wasn't simply about creating powerful offspring. It was about establishing permanent control over human consciousness evolution. The Nephilim giants served as anchor points for maintaining alien consciousness within human genetic lines, ensuring that the rebel angels could continue influencing human development across multiple generations. But the prosecution's most damning evidence concerns the consciousness corruption protocols Samyaza developed. By teaching humans technologies and knowledge systems that bypass natural spiritual development, he created dependencies that would prevent humanity from achieving independent cosmic citizenship for thousands of years. Testimony from the flood survivor, Noah speaks truth. The cosmic tribunal calls forth its first witness, a man whose genetic lineage remained pure during the systematic corruption of human DNA, whose consciousness stayed connected to source intelligence while most of humanity fell under the influence of the rebel angels. Noah's testimony carries the weight of direct experience with the devastation caused by the Watcher rebellion. I witnessed the systematic destruction of everything the Creator intended for humanity. Noah's consciousness testifies across dimensional frequencies that carry the authentic vibration of truth itself. These beings who claim to be gods turned my people into slaves of their own corrupted desires and ambitions. His testimony reveals the true horror of the pre-flood world, not simply moral corruption but complete disconnection from source consciousness. The hybrid offspring of the rebel watchers didn't just grow to enormous physical size. They developed psychic abilities that allowed them to dominate and control ordinary humans through direct consciousness manipulation. The giants weren't just physically large. They were psychic vampires who fed on human life force and consciousness energy, Noah continues. They established themselves as god-kings over human populations, demanding worship and sacrifice while systematically draining the spiritual vitality that connected my people to their true cosmic heritage. The cities of the pre-flood world, according to Noah's testimony, weren't simply centers of human civilization. They were consciousness harvesting facilities where human energy was collected and transmitted to support the rebel angels' cosmic war against divine authority. I saw human children bred specifically for consciousness transfer experiments, their souls displaced so that alien entities could inhabit their bodies permanently. I witnessed the genetic modification of entire bloodlines to create human vessels suitable for long-term alien possession. Most devastatingly, Noah describes the systematic suppression of human spiritual abilities through technologies that blocked natural psychic development while enhancing susceptibility to external consciousness control. My people forgot they were children of the stars, created to achieve cosmic citizenship through natural evolution. Instead, they became dependent on their false gods for technologies and knowledge that should have developed from within their own consciousness expansion. The verdict and sentencing. Cosmic justice served. As the evidence mounts against Samyaza and the testimony of witnesses reveals the full scope of his crimes against cosmic order, the Great White Throne begins emanating frequencies of judgment that resonate throughout multiple dimensions. This isn't merely a legal proceeding. It's a cosmic healing process that will restore the natural order that was disrupted by the rebellion. The judge, speaking with the authority of source consciousness itself, addresses the defendant, whose pride and ambition triggered a cosmic war that affected countless civilizations across the galaxy. Samyaza, your rebellion has exceeded the boundaries of personal choice and entered the realm of cosmic terrorism. You have not simply violated laws, you have attacked the fundamental principles that allow consciousness to evolve and achieve reunion with its source. The judgment that follows carries implications that extend far beyond punishment for past crimes. The sentence will restore the natural evolutionary trajectory that was interrupted by the Watcher rebellion, while ensuring that such cosmic treason can never again threaten the development of consciousness throughout the universe. For your corruption of an entire species, for your systematic attack on the free will that is sacred to all developing consciousness, for your attempt to usurp divine authority over the evolutionary process, you are condemned to complete separation from the light of source consciousness. But this separation isn't merely punishment. It's cosmic quarantine designed to prevent the consciousness virus of rebellion from spreading to other developing civilizations. The rebel angels will be confined to dimensional frequencies where their corrupted consciousness cannot influence or interfere with the natural development of other species. You will be bound in chains of darkness until the final judgment, when all rebellion against cosmic order will be permanently eliminated from the universal consciousness matrix. The sentencing creates a dimensional barrier that prevents the rebel angels from accessing the consciousness frequencies necessary for interdimensional travel or communication with developing civilizations. They become isolated within the lower vibrational realms, where their own corrupted consciousness becomes their prison. The second defendant, master of false worship. The tribunal's attention turns to another cosmic criminal whose rebellion took a different but equally destructive form. This entity, known throughout human history by various names, but identified in the cosmic records as the architect of idolatry, specialized in corrupting humanity's natural spiritual instincts and redirecting worship away from source consciousness toward false gods and material objects. Unlike Samyaza's direct genetic manipulation approach, this being's rebellion involves sophisticated psychological warfare designed to convince humans that spiritual fulfillment could be found through external worship rather than internal consciousness expansion. You stand accused of weaponizing humanity's sacred creative abilities against their own spiritual development, the cosmic prosecutor declares. You have taken the divine spark of creativity that was meant to connect humans with source consciousness and perverted it into a tool for consciousness enslavement. The evidence reveals how this entity systematically infiltrated human civilizations, presenting himself as a benevolent guide for cultural and artistic development, while actually implementing programming that would make humans psychologically dependent on external authority figures and material objects for spiritual satisfaction. The defendant's corruption strategy was brilliantly conceived and executed over thousands of years. By positioning himself as the inspirational force behind human art, architecture, and cultural achievements, he gained access to the consciousness of entire civilizations and gradually redirected their spiritual energies toward false worship systems. I gave them beauty, inspiration, and cultural advancement beyond their natural capabilities, the defendant argues in his defense. If they chose to worship the gifts rather than seek the giver, that was their free will choice, not my manipulation. But the cosmic prosecutor presents evidence showing that the defendant's gifts were specifically designed to create psychological dependencies that would prevent humans from developing their own natural spiritual abilities. The elaborate temple complexes, ritual systems, and religious hierarchies he inspired weren't meant to facilitate genuine spiritual growth. They were consciousness control systems designed to harvest human spiritual energy while keeping worshippers in states of perpetual spiritual infancy. Witnesses to cultural corruption. Prophets testify. The tribunal calls forth witnesses who experienced the devastating effects of systematic spiritual corruption firsthand. These aren't merely historical figures but consciousness entities whose direct confrontation with false worship systems provides crucial evidence about the true nature of the rebellion's impact on human spiritual development. Elijah's consciousness manifests before the tribunal, carrying the authentic vibration of someone who faced the full power of false worship systems and witnessed their supernatural enforcement mechanisms. I stood alone against 450 prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. His testimony resonates across dimensional frequencies. But this wasn't simply a contest between different religious beliefs. It was a confrontation between cosmic forces competing for control over human consciousness. His account reveals that the false gods weren't merely imaginary constructs created by human superstition. They were actual alien entities using advanced technologies to manifest supernatural phenomena that convinced human populations of their divine authority. The prophets of Baal weren't just mistaken humans following false beliefs. They were possessed by alien consciousnesses that had displaced their original personalities. I was facing 450 entities that weren't human at all. The demonstration on Mount Carmel, according to Elijah's testimony, was a direct confrontation between source consciousness and the technological systems the rebel angels used to maintain their false divine authority over human populations. When I called down fire from heaven, I wasn't performing a miracle. I was accessing the natural cosmic forces that the false gods had been using advanced technology to simulate and control. The real miracle was that humans were finally shown the difference between genuine divine power and alien technological manipulation. The Ethiopian eunuch provides testimony about the consciousness liberation that occurs when humans recognize their true spiritual heritage and break free from the false worship systems that have enslaved human consciousness for millennia. I served in courts surrounded by false gods and technological temples designed to harvest human consciousness energy, his testimony reveals. But when I encountered the truth about our cosmic heritage and direct connection to source consciousness, everything changed. His account describes the systematic consciousness programming that maintained false worship systems and the dramatic transformation that occurs when humans remember their true nature as cosmic beings created for direct communion with divine intelligence. Modern testimony, contemporary consciousness warfare. The Tribunal receives testimony from witnesses operating in the current era, revealing how the same consciousness manipulation techniques developed by the rebel angels continue to operate through modern technological and cultural systems. A contemporary witness describes the sophisticated psychological warfare being conducted through media, technology, and cultural programming designed to keep human consciousness focused on material pursuits rather than spiritual development. The false gods haven't disappeared. They've adapted to modern technology, the witness testifies. The same consciousness manipulation that once operated through stone temples and ritual sacrifice now operates through electronic screens and psychological programming. The testimony reveals how modern entertainment, advertising, and social media systems use precisely the same consciousness manipulation techniques that the rebel angels developed thousands of years ago to redirect human attention away from spiritual growth toward material consumption and external validation. The temples are now made of silicon and electricity rather than stone and gold, but they serve the same function, harvesting human consciousness energy while preventing people from discovering their true spiritual capabilities. The witness describes the systematic suppression of psychic abilities, spiritual awareness, and cosmic consciousness that occurs through modern educational, medical, and cultural systems designed to keep humans in states of spiritual ignorance and technological dependency. They've convinced most humans that spiritual abilities are impossible, that cosmic consciousness is fantasy, and that technological dependency is progress. But it's the same enslavement system the rebel angels established thousands of years ago, just updated for modern circumstances. The final judgment, cosmic order restored. As testimony concludes and evidence is weighed, the Great White Throne emanates frequencies of judgment that penetrate every corner of the universe. This isn't merely the resolution of a legal proceeding, it's the cosmic restoration of order that will free human consciousness from millennia of alien manipulation and return our species to its natural evolutionary trajectory. The judge, speaking with the authority of source consciousness itself, addresses the systematic corruption that has affected not just Earth but countless civilizations throughout the galaxy. The rebellion initiated by these entities has disrupted the natural evolution of consciousness across multiple star systems and affected the spiritual development of billions of beings. The corruption they introduced must be completely eliminated to restore the cosmic harmony that allows consciousness to evolve toward reunion with its source. The judgment that follows carries implications that extend throughout multiple dimensions and affects the destiny of every consciousness in the universe. The rebel angels' systematic attack on free will and natural spiritual development has created distortions in the cosmic consciousness matrix that must be healed through divine intervention. For corrupting the sacred creative abilities of developing civilizations, for establishing false worship systems that enslaved consciousness rather than liberating it, for systematically suppressing the spiritual abilities that connect beings with their cosmic heritage, you are condemned to complete separation from the creative forces of the universe. The sentence involves more than punishment. It's cosmic surgery designed to remove the consciousness viruses that have infected the universal consciousness matrix and prevented natural spiritual evolution across multiple civilizations. The defendant's creative abilities, which were meant to serve source consciousness by inspiring genuine spiritual growth, are permanently revoked. His capacity to influence or manipulate consciousness is eliminated, and he is confined to dimensional frequencies where his corrupted awareness can no longer affect other beings. You will be cast into outer darkness, where your false light can no longer deceive or enslave consciousness seeking authentic spiritual experience. The restoration process, healing cosmic consciousness. As the tribunal completes its judgment of individual rebel angels, the Great White Throne begins emanating frequencies that initiate a cosmic healing process affecting every civilization that was impacted by the consciousness manipulation programs. This restoration isn't simply about punishing criminals. It's about repairing the fundamental distortions in cosmic consciousness that have prevented natural spiritual evolution for millennia. The first phase involves the systematic dismantling of the consciousness control networks that the rebel angels established throughout human civilization. The false worship systems, technological dependencies, and psychological programming that have kept humans disconnected from their cosmic heritage begin dissolving as the source frequencies penetrate every level of reality. Ancient temples and sacred sites that were corrupted to serve as consciousness harvesting facilities are restored to their original function as interdimensional gateways that facilitate communion between human consciousness and cosmic intelligence. The genetic modifications that made humans susceptible to alien consciousness control are gradually healed through exposure to source frequencies that restore original human DNA patterns. The bloodlines that carried alien genetic markers and consciousness programming begin experiencing spontaneous healing as their original human genetic codes reassert themselves. Families that have carried the burden of alien consciousness influence for generations find themselves free to develop their natural spiritual abilities without interference. Most significantly, the consciousness suppression technologies that prevented humans from accessing their psychic abilities and cosmic awareness are permanently disabled. Humans worldwide begin experiencing spontaneous spiritual awakenings as their natural consciousness capabilities are restored. But the restoration extends far beyond Earth. Throughout the galaxy, civilizations that were affected by the rebel angels' consciousness manipulation programs begin experiencing similar liberation. Species that were enslaved through false worship systems remember their true cosmic heritage and resume their natural evolutionary trajectory toward cosmic citizenship. The interdimensional communication networks that connected developing civilizations with their cosmic mentors are restored, ending the isolation that forced species to develop independently without guidance from more advanced beings who respect free will and natural evolution. The Saints' authority, cosmic citizens as judges. The biblical prophecy that the saints will judge angels reveals a profound truth about the cosmic hierarchy that most religious institutions have completely misunderstood. The saints aren't human religious figures who achieved moral perfection. They are consciousness entities who have successfully completed the evolutionary journey from material existence to cosmic citizenship. These beings represent every species throughout the galaxy that has achieved reunion with source consciousness while maintaining their unique perspectives and experiences. They serve as the cosmic jury in this tribunal because they understand both the challenges of consciousness evolution and the importance of maintaining free will throughout the development process. Their authority to judge the rebel angels comes not from moral superiority, but from successful completion of the same evolutionary journey that the rebels attempted to corrupt and control. They have achieved what the rebel angels claimed was impossible: cosmic consciousness without losing individual identity or requiring external technological support. The saints' participation in this judgment process serves multiple purposes. First, it validates that natural consciousness evolution can successfully achieve cosmic citizenship without the alien intervention that the rebels claimed was necessary. Second, it provides perspectives from beings who experienced consciousness development under natural conditions rather than alien manipulation. Most importantly, their presence ensures that the judgment and restoration process serves the interests of developing consciousness rather than simply punishing rebellion. The saints understand the delicate balance required to guide consciousness evolution without interfering with free will, and their input ensures that the cosmic restoration enhances rather than disrupts natural spiritual development. As representatives of countless civilizations that achieved cosmic citizenship through natural evolution, the saints provide evidence that the rebel angels' claims about the necessity of their intervention were completely false. Consciousness can and does achieve reunion with source intelligence through natural development when allowed to evolve without interference. The final restoration, humanity's cosmic awakening. As the cosmic tribunal completes its work and the rebel angels are permanently quarantined from influencing developing consciousness, a new phase of human evolution begins. The consciousness suppression systems that have operated for millennia are dissolving, and humanity is experiencing the first genuine spiritual awakening in recorded history. The genetic modifications that made humans susceptible to alien consciousness control are being healed through exposure to source frequencies transmitted through the restored cosmic communication networks. Humans worldwide are discovering psychic abilities, spiritual awareness, and direct communion with cosmic intelligence that our species was originally designed to develop naturally. The false worship systems and technological dependencies that kept humanity in spiritual infancy are becoming obsolete as people remember their direct connection to source consciousness. Religious institutions built on alien consciousness manipulation are losing their authority as humans discover they can communicate directly with divine intelligence without intermediaries. Educational systems that suppress knowledge of human cosmic heritage are being transformed as suppressed information about our true origins and spiritual capabilities is restored to public awareness. Medical systems that treated spiritual abilities as mental illness are being revolutionized as psychic phenomena are recognized as normal human capabilities. Most significantly, the consciousness isolation that forced humanity to develop independently is ending as our species reestablishes communication with the cosmic civilizations that have been waiting for our natural awakening. We are reclaiming our birthright as cosmic citizens and taking our place among the advanced civilizations that respect free will and natural evolution. The rebel angels' greatest fear is being realized. Humanity is achieving cosmic consciousness without their intervention or control. We are proving that natural evolution can successfully navigate the challenges of consciousness development without requiring alien guidance or technological dependency. The eternal verdict, justice across all dimensions. The Great White Throne Tribunal represents more than the judgment of individual rebels. It's the cosmic restoration of order that ensures natural consciousness evolution can proceed without interference throughout the universe. The verdict rendered against the fallen angels establishes precedents that will protect developing civilizations for all eternity. The rebellion that began with pride and ambition has been permanently defeated through the demonstration that consciousness can achieve cosmic citizenship through natural evolution, guided by source intelligence, rather than alien manipulation. The false gods who claimed indispensable authority over human development have been proven unnecessary and harmful. The technologies and consciousness manipulation systems that enslaved civilizations for millennia have been dismantled and their creators quarantined, where they can no longer interfere with natural spiritual development. The genetic corruptions that made species vulnerable to alien control have been healed through divine intervention. Most importantly, the consciousness suppression that prevented beings from remembering their cosmic heritage and developing their natural spiritual abilities has been permanently lifted. Throughout the galaxy, species are awakening to their true nature as cosmic beings created for direct communion with source consciousness. The cosmic war that raged for millennia between natural evolution and artificial control has been decisively won by the forces of free will and authentic spiritual development. The universe is safe for consciousness to evolve naturally toward reunion with its source, without interference from entities seeking to exploit or control the process. As the tribunal concludes, and the rebel angels face their eternal separation from the creative forces they attempted to corrupt, a new era begins throughout the cosmos. Consciousness can evolve freely, species can develop their natural spiritual abilities without interference, and the universe returns to the harmony that allows all beings to achieve their cosmic destiny. The judgment of the angels isn't just ancient history, it's the current reality as cosmic justice finally addresses the consciousness manipulation that has affected countless civilizations. The rebellion is ending, the rebels are being judged, and consciousness is being restored to its natural evolutionary trajectory throughout the universe. The Great White Throne has rendered its verdict, and cosmic order is being restored. The age of false gods and consciousness manipulation is ending, and the era of authentic spiritual evolution has begun. Justice has been served, and the universe is healing from the wounds of rebellion. May the eternal light of source consciousness forever guide your path as you reclaim your cosmic heritage and take your place among the free beings of the universe. The judgment is complete, the rebels are defeated, and consciousness is free to achieve its divine destiny.